It's another glorious day here in the Philadelphia area or anywhere that you're a Philadelphia fan checking in from. This is Phillies Daily. I'm Mike Kennelly. The Phillies shut out the Rockies 2-0. And what's that? Is that? Do I smell a sweep? Yes, I do. The Phillies got a 4-game sweep against the Colorado Rockies out there in Coors Field. It was great to see. I mean, the Rockies are not a good team. They are one of the worst I've ever seen in my life so far. But the Phillies took care of business. They dominated the Rockies overall in that series. Like I said, shut them out to close out that 4-game series in yesterday's win on Thursday night. Great to see. 4-game sweep. They are now 7-0 against the Rockies this year in 2025. Great to see. Like I said, they're taking care of business. They've had trouble in the past against these bad teams, and it comes back to haunt them later on. But right now, they are taking care of business, like I said. And in those 7 wins against the Rockies this year, they outscored them 41-15. That is just a drastic difference between runs. Just a huge run differential. Great job, Phillies. Keep it up. They are now on a 7-game winning streak with those 4 wins against the Rockies and going back to that 3-game sweep of the Pittsburgh Pirates before the Rockies series. Like I said, Phillies Daily, Mike Kennelly. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content. Ranger Suarez, he was I wouldn't say he had his best game yesterday. He was a lot like Jesus Luzardo the other night in that Rockies game, where he also didn't have his best stuff on Tuesday night in that win against the Rockies, but he gutted out his game and ended up having a pretty solid outing as the game went on. The same really goes for Ranger Suarez. Didn't really have his best stuff, but he did go 6 2/3 innings, allowed 6 hits. You would like to have that a little lower, but still not horrible. 3 walks, a little bit of command issues. You don't like to see that many walks in the start, but it happens from time to time. Obviously, 0 runs with that shutout yesterday, and he had 6 strikeouts. So he did get some punch outs, which is good to see. Like I said, just not his best stuff, but he did gut out a win. Ranger Suarez is now 3-0 with a 3.70 ERA in his first 4 starts in 2025 since he's come back from injury. His first start was on May 4th. Not a great performance by Ranger Suarez, so his numbers could look even better if it wasn't for that first start where he first came back from injury. In that game on May 4th, he went 3 2/3 innings, just couldn't figure things out there for him. Allowed 7 hits, he had 2 walks, and he allowed 7 runs in that outing. He did have 6 strikeouts, but like I said, bad game from him there, but his 3 starts since, very, very, very good. Ranger Suarez looks to be back from his struggles last year, so hopefully he keeps that up. And moving forward, the Phillies really need him in the rotation because he is a key piece. Ranger Suarez is in a contract year, so the Phillies will have a decision to make on him as the season goes on and as the offseason approaches, but that's for down the road. Just keep on pitching well, Ranger, and keep doing what you're doing because the Phillies need it, and it's great to see. Something that wasn't really great to see, but, you can't really complain just because of how dominant they were throughout the other 3 games of the series. The Phillies offense, they didn't have their best game yesterday in that 2-0 win against the Rockies. The first 3 games of that series, they had 46 hits, 25 runs, which is just incredible. 3 games having 46 hits and 25 runs in that span, just amazing. Yesterday's ball game, they had just 4 hits and 2 runs in the series finale, but they did get the 2-0 win, which is all that matters. They had 3 extra base hits, which were all doubles, one by Bryce Harper and Max Kepler, which happened to be both RBI doubles, and then Alec Boehm also hit a double. Kyle Schwarber had the other hit with a single, and the Phillies just, like I said, not the best offensive performance, especially after those first 3 games. They were just 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Obviously, you want to be better in that category, but they did get the win. They got the 4-game sweep. They continued their 7-game win streak, so you really can't complain, especially how well they've been hitting, and it should continue with the next series coming up. But before we get to that, I wanted to speak about, obviously there's been some question marks around the Phillies bullpen. They kind of started off pretty iffy, pretty questionable, pretty slow to start the season, and then obviously just lost Jose Alvarado about a week ago to an 80-game suspension plus playoff ineligibility if they make it that far, and he was one of their top high leverage guys, so now they are down one of them and they need to find answers for another guy. But the Phillies top 3 high leverage guys that they have to rely on for the remainder of the season, which are always out there in those big situations. They all pitched in yesterday's ball game in that 2-0 win. Orion Kirkring came in for Ranger Suarez in that 7th inning. He just needed one pitch to record that final out to end that 7th inning. So good job by him. Matt Strahm, the all-star lefty from last year and having a heck of a season so far this year, he came in for the 8th and pitched a scoreless 8th inning. And then Jordan Romano, the veteran offseason acquisition from the Toronto Blue Jays, who was a 2-time all-star before he was hurt last year, he now has 9 consecutive scoreless appearances after a horrible, disastrous start to his Phillies career. He came in for the 9th inning, closed it out yesterday in that 2-0 win. He had 2 strikeouts, needed just 10 pitches to get those 3 outs. And of those 10 pitches, he threw 8 strikes. So that's great to see. He's not walking guys. He's getting the job done. He's efficient. And he just looks like a completely different player from his early season debacle. Early season struggles. You can just use any word like that to describe what that was out of Jordan Romano. But like I said, now 9 consecutive scoreless appearances. And in those 9 consecutive scoreless appearances, he's pitched 9 innings. He allowed just 3 hits in those 9 innings, 0 walks, which is incredible. You love to see that. Obviously, no runs, and he has 13 strikeouts in those 9 innings with 5 saves. He's up there with the best of them, honestly, for the active saves leaders. So he's turned his season around, and it's great to see because when the season first started, it looked like a horrible season for Jordan Romano coming. Phillies fans wanted him out of the city, take that one-way ticket, but he's impressed lately, and people are starting to really gain trust. He's gaining their trust. He's getting fans and the coaching staff trust, and the Phillies really need it, especially with Jose Alvarado out. So they do still need someone to step up in the bullpen with him out, other than those 3 top leverage guys that I just mentioned, or they're going to have to bring in somebody by the trade deadline. That's also down the line in the future, but it's just something to keep an eye on. But as long as these guys continue to get their jobs done, Jose Alvarado's suspension is not going to look as bad for the Phillies moving forward. But we'll see. The Phillies do start a 3-game series against the Athletics. Notice how I just say Athletics and no city. That's because the A's, formerly in Oakland, have moved away from Oakland. They are planning to make a move to Las Vegas, but that is still being figured out under, the timeline's not there right now for them. So they're playing this year in Sacramento, California, and they have no city connected to their name, so they are just the A's, just the Athletics. Kind of weird, but it is what it is. The A's are not a very good team, so the Phillies went from playing a poor Pirates team, took care of business, swept them 3 games, played a really bad Rockies team, took care of business obviously there. Incredible 4 games, especially from the offensive side. Swept them in 4 games on that 7-game win streak, and now they play the last place in the AL West A's. They are 22-29 entering this 3-game series against the Phillies, and they have the 6th worst record in Major League Baseball. So the Phillies should come away with another series win, hopefully another 3-game sweep to bump their win streak to 10 games. That's tough to do, but the A's are on a 9-game losing streak. So they are just down in the dumps right now, and the Phillies got to take full advantage of that and keep hitting, keep pitching well, and get these wins against the A's. And they're going to have a good chance because as of now, the projected starters for the Phillies for this 3-game series are Zach Wheeler tonight, Friday night. It's going to be a 10:05 start, I believe, as well as Saturday night is also, I believe, tomorrow night, a 10:05 start there in Sacramento. That's going to be Christopher Sanchez on the mound, projected right now to start for the Phillies. And then on Sunday afternoon, I believe it's a 4 p.m. game, Jesus Luzardo, the Phillies offseason acquisition, who's having a heck of a year so far in his first year with the Phillies, NL Cy Young candidate. He is going to pitch, or projected to pitch, that series finale against the A's. Unfortunately, I'm going to be away this weekend, so I'm not going to be able to put a video out there tomorrow or Sunday most likely, but I'll be back on Monday to recap the major events, the major news from this 3-game series against the A's. Like I said, not going to be here, but Hopefully the Phillies keep on winning, keep on hitting, keep on pitching well. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Phillies Daily with Mike Hennelly. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe, like I always say, to keep this thing rolling for all things Philadelphia Phillies with Phillies Daily. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Go Phils. Let's get this 3-game sweep of the A's, and I'll be back here on Monday. Hope you guys enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Be safe out there. Go Phils.